here in the Kratom Grove, and I just wanted to give some perspective on some of the topics I've been seeing arising around Kratom dependency and Kratom withdrawal. Um, so we're growing Kratom seed to finish here, and we have a lot of ability to engage with the plant directly. I think people are taking way too much powder. That's my personal assessment, is that there's no guidelines. You hear people take a few grams as a small dose, but people are taking 10 and 20, and I've heard just this crazy amounts that people are taking of powder, and to even get close to that or build up to that or get there is, you're in a different whole different stratosphere than where it is that it's gone for me as an intuitive plant person who's played around with the plant from seed to finish, and just have perspective on all plants, not just this one. But it's bitter and astringent and sour, and doesn't tell you by just putting a little on your tongue. It's not saying please eat a bunch of me, like put it in a piece of paper and wash it down. That's ridiculous. It's not made for that, and there's no traditional use of that. Now, I'm a Kratom powder user. I make my own Kratom powder. I sell my own Kratom powder, and I use a half a teaspoon in my morning drink, and maybe another one in the middle of the day, twice a month, the second dose of powder. I've been known to put a whole teaspoon in a half gallon of water to do some sort of intense physical, something to really push myself and get a lot of water. The water would be a big important factor of exactly how much powder is right for you. And I would probably guess, I don't know, that your body weight index times the amount of water and powder that you're consuming would be probably the amount that's appropriate for you. So if you're a little person, I'd say it's not, again, the water is probably the most important factor. I wouldn't relate it to body weight as much as I would Western medicine, because it works on a different pathway. But in terms of the amount of water that you have in your body and the amount of water that you're able to drink, that would be relative to how much powder you'd be taking. It doesn't mean that people were like, well, what do you mean? I take this is what works for me. And these people over here are saying that this powder thing that they're doing is working for them, and they taper up and down. I've heard all kinds of stuff going on over there. It's very strange. I mean, I get it, but it's taken me a while to understand why there's such a discrepancy between people who are having a great time and people who aren't. And everyone's body's a little different, and the water thing is probably the biggest factor. These guys are hydrated and these guys aren't. Big factor, huge, when you're taking that much powder, because it's a strong plant. There's a lot of medicine there. It's not strong. People say that when you say it's a strong plant, they think, oh, it has a lot of drugs in it. It's strong drugs. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it's not strong. It's a very strong plant, but it's not about like only the painkiller or stimulating effects are strong. It's got a lot going on in there, period. It's very nutrient dense. It has a molecule identical to hydroxychloroquine, okay? It's got 15 times more antioxidants than green tea. Okay, it's loaded with polyphenols, minerals. It's loaded. It's not light work. And I'm talking about the plant material and the powder. I'm not even necessarily talking about, because extracts is a whole different topic. I'm talking about consuming the plant material in powder form. If I was to eat this leaf, for example, and I'll take a leaf like this and I'll gnaw on it and extract the medicine. Usually it's like 10 minutes. And if I leave it even longer for 10 minutes, I can already feel it's like I'm starting to ingest particles, and I don't need it. If you were to swallow the whole thing, it's relative to doing, like a tablespoon of powder or something like that. Especially with a big leaf like this. But anyway, so people are taking too much powder, And the argument to themselves internally, seemingly, is they're saying, I need to feel this certain way, or I need to reach this threshold. I've had a lot of success personally if I need more medicine with the teas, and I can get a lot in me in terms of getting the sort of blissful sedative effects, primarily. With the stimulation, there's only so much stimulation that you get. You can't just take more powder and be more stimulated. It doesn't work like that. To me, my experience and everything that I've seen is that there's a threshold of each of the different effects that you can experience, regardless of how much you take. From there, taking that more is going to just dehydrate you and set about all the different problems, okay? They're not worth discussing in terms of addiction, like everyone talks about addiction, because they won't cause you to rob a liquor store, and they're not even on the same stratosphere when it comes to other opiates and these drugs that break your endocrine system to bring about their effect. This doesn't do that, okay? Taking a lot of powder can get you extremely constipated, and it can kind of stop you up and, yes, make you, because you've experienced at some lower threshold levels, or because it was helping the people with various different concerns, and it became their happy place, it became the thing that was bringing them relief, and so intuitively they say, I just need to take more to get back to that place of relief. And then there's a different type of dependence and addiction that's happening, okay? The withdrawal symptoms might, it's tough to gain exactly the perspective on the withdrawal symptoms, because I've tried to be in a place of, can I make myself withdraw from this? But I can't bring myself to eat the amount of powder that these people are talking about. That's the truth. And I've, drank a lot of Kratom tea in my own personal experimentation of inundation with the medicine and seeing where that's going to go, right? I'm someone who is against addiction of all kind. I can't let anything on myself that I need to have dependency on. So I've checked myself with this, where I'll try, and I haven't been able to experience this withdrawal thing, and probably as a result of purely not just loading the powder. Then the argument is, well, what about the extracts? So if the powder is so bad, how come people get addicted to the extracts? And the extracts are really strong. I mean, if you do the math about how much powder goes into the extracts, it's kind of almost the same difference, in the sense that you're just getting there's other things in the leaf and the powder and thereby the tea that also help mitigate and balance whatever amount of medicine per full spectrum. So when we have this plant compound in its totality, I suck on one leaf, I get one effect, right? I consume that whole leaf, I get a different effect, more intense, right? I take 2 or 3 and all of a sudden I get the spins and I'm throwing up, because it just doesn't work, because of too much. That's it. That's all you get. It's the height, right? I'll admit I don't have much perspective on the withdrawal factor once you get into that higher realm. I do know that you can mitigate a lot of the problems with a lot of water, and this kind of brings to light. People will say, well, what do you mean? I drank water all night long and I still had the spins and the headaches or whatever. These symptoms are really vary a lot too. It's kind of I'm kind of suspicious, about what's going on there, because it just anyone who's taken my product, full stop, anyone around me just hasn't had that experience, you know. And I can't. The only thing I can think is that I'm not given this. I'm not given this intense extract or suggesting large amounts of powder. I make a alcohol substitute beverage, and I've you know used it like an alcohol substitute, and I don't drink anymore. But I certainly have used it to substitute alcohol to have a good time and drank a lot of it, you know. And again, it's in liquid form. The tea is the primary means of this extraction. And whether it's that or just needing to inundate and get a proper dose for pain or relaxation or meditation or working out or, you know, whatever the angle is,